There's a lot of pain out there right now. A lot of normal, everyday Americans are suffering right now. We have a lot of folks being laid off, as well as the stock market in full meltdown mode. I wanted to bring you guys an exclusive here. We have Jonathan Rose, who's been on just about every platform out there, Newsmax, CNBC. You've done them all, haven't you?
I'm especially busy right now with the market being a sea of red. There's obviously a lot of frustration because, you know, people like you and I, we have IRAs, we have 401ks, and there's literally trillions that are being wiped out of the market right now. And unfortunately, it's the retail investor, us, that are taking the brunt of it. So yeah, absolutely. A lot of newscasts happening right now, and a lot to talk about. More importantly, a lot to talk about, particularly what's happening in these financial markets.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you coming on, Jonathan. Jonathan Rose is president of and CEO, right, of Genesis Gold Group. We talk with them a bunch, and they are sponsors of this channel. But I love being able to pick your brain and get your inside information on what you're hearing and what you're seeing out there, because you're talking with people with big retirement accounts, right? You're talking to the mom and pops, the people who have a business that they built up a retirement, and a lot of them have their money in the markets.
Yeah, I mean, anyone literally who has tens of thousands to millions of dollars in the market in a retirement account, they're seeing the value of their portfolio go down. And reading these headlines, I'll just read a couple. I'm going to dart my eyes to my other screen, but global brokerages raise recession odds. JP Morgan sees 60% chances of a recession. Now, I feel like we're already in the recession, and 60% it's a lot higher than that. So these numbers that have coming out every week, 30% recession, 40%. Now it's just jumped from 40 to 60%. And Americans have watched in horror as savings were wiped out, as Wall Street chaos sees trillions of dollars more evaporated. Now this is going to be the trend here, unfortunately. They say the trend is your friend. Definitely not in this scenario. And people are asking me why, why are we seeing this? And simply put, we do have a laundry list of issues, but the biggest glaring one right now that people are reading about is the tariff wars, right? Where we're seeing tariffs imposed on other countries, tariffs going to be imposed back on the US, and it's causing all of this market volatility. And as President Trump said in an address to the nation, expect to experience short to midterm pain for long-term gain. And that's exactly what we're experiencing. Now, the question is what does that short to midterm gain look like for people? Is it months? Is it a year? Is it 3 years? We don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. But what we do have, Steve, is a pretty good roadmap. And besides the tariff wars, which is definitely going to be putting us into recession, no questions, no ifs, no buts. I think we're already there personally. But I mean, if you dive a little bit deeper and you look at the next problems, they're like Lego stacks of problems. We have debt, $36 trillion in debt. Our interest on the debt is diabolical. We're spending about $1 trillion or $1 billion every 90 days. That's more than our US national defense budget, right? Come August, we are going to be defaulting on that debt, which is a serious concern. I know tariffs are the now concern. I've always said debt does matter. What are we going to do? Are we going to raise the debt ceiling, which is going to weaken the dollar? Good for gold, right? Because gold has an inverse relationship to the dollar. So dollar goes down, gold goes up. Unless we find a way to cut this US national trade deficit. And they're having a hard job doing that because we keep getting further and further in the hole. So the recession indicator, some people are even saying the D word, depression. So obviously, I don't want to be the doom and gloom person here, because if there's problems, you need to find solutions. And the solutions, at least in my world, is with protection and security. And precious metals. As you know, I've been a big advocate for assets like gold and silver in your portfolio over the years. And I think, during these times, it really does make sense to kind of not bury your head in the sand, so to speak, like an ostrich, and actually realize what's happening in the market, realize what's coming towards us, understand the ramification with these trade wars, and actually be proactive and do something about it now, rather than sit there and watching your statements in your IRAs or 401ks keep depleting month after month.
Yeah, we're right now the Dow's down 4%, S&P's down 4.8%, Nasdaq 4.9%. We go over to Europe, we're seeing the same or worse. We got it's absolute chaos out there. I don't know how Asia's holding up as well as it is. They should be even worse than us. But yeah, there's a lot of pain out there, and it's real. I don't think you're the person of doom and gloom. I think right now people are looking at their stock portfolios, they're looking at their retirement plans, and that's the doom and gloom that we're seeing and feeling right now. And right now, like you said, the short-term pain that even President Trump is saying is what we're going to be feeling. So I guess the real question on a lot of people's minds right now is, how do you protect yourself right now? Where do you hide? Because it seems like everything's going down. Oil is down like 15% over the last 2 days. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, there isn't a magic pill that just fixes everything, right? But being a good steward of your family. In fact, my wife and I were kind of just discussing this the other night, and a lot of people we speak to, she even asked me, what did these people say when they see the markets going down? Are they worried? And a lot of people I do speak to, they already invest, but they invest in different ways. They invest into their family. Everyone invests into their family, and one of those branches out from the family is the finances. And people are looking, well, how can I protect my family and my family's finances? And when you look at one asset has shined brighter than others, and that is precious metals, particularly gold and silver. And if you didn't know already, you can put assets like gold and silver in an IRA or 401k, and that's what we specialize here at Genesis Gold Group, is wealth protection. So you can, in fact, do a tax-free rollover. So you may be working somewhere, have a 401k that you inherited from a previous company, you can roll and protect that over. Maybe you're still working with that company, it's a 401k, you're over 59 and a half, you can roll that over tax-free. Maybe you have an IRA, a TSP plan. Again, you can roll all these types of retirement accounts over and do what we call a lateral trade. Get out of these risky assets because they're going to continue, and go into something tangible that you can hold on to. Now, when you look at the performance of gold and silver, which to me is always secondary, people are touting these high numbers. I never like to talk about numbers with gold, because even with silver, because to me, there's a little saying in our industry, Steve, you don't wait to buy gold, you buy gold and wait. And what that means is exactly what's happening today. There's like a financial nuclear meltdown that's happening. And this is what gold does: protects against inflation, protects against market downturn, protects against, international instability, which we're also seeing. And the price of gold rises. But the price of gold rising isn't my motivation to shift into gold. It's security and preservation. The rising prices of gold is just a byproduct of the protection effect. So when I look at gold,
I didn't see the numbers. It was just like last week or something like that, where it's like, if you had bought gold and you bought S&P 500 in the year 2000, you actually would have done better with gold than you would have with the S&P. And that is up through the beginning of this year, a month ago or something like that. And I think with this downturn, you're probably continuing to move that direction where, and it's not so much that the stock market and that gold has gone up in value so much. It's unfortunately that our dollars have lost so much value, isn't it?
It really is. Now, I've been working the financial markets since like the mid 90s. So, you can look at cross sections of data, and you're absolutely right. The gold can be outperforming the S&P 500, and there's going to be other times when the S&P and the stock composites are going to outperform gold. But it's all about having a balanced portfolio and diversification. But the problem is right now is that when you look at the economic data that we have in front of us and you want to recalibrate, it's like if you have, I don't know, you're going on a bike ride and you're going to be on gravelly road. or hilly road with potholes, you probably want to have mountain bike tires on there. You wouldn't want like a racer tire on that bike, because you get a flat. It's the same with your investment. Okay, we know the road ahead. There's going to be lots of potholes. There's going to be lots of stones, uneven surfaces, and during that rocky ride, so to speak, you want to make sure that your finances are equipped with the right tools. So this is what gold provides. It's providing us with the right tools to really absorb all the meltdown and problems that we're seeing in the marketplace. This is why it's very important to have gold. And obviously, I used to work for Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley. I've been in the banking sector for many years, and one thing I compare big banks to is like big pharma. And you're probably thinking, how are they even similar? So big pharmaceutical companies in America especially, they get you hooked, right? They're trying to take a pill, take this vaccine, and they're trying to get you dependent on them, get you hooked. Banks are very, very similar. I know, because I'm from that world where they want you taking out these products, paying banking fees, becoming in debt, right? Once they've got you in debt, they've got you, like the big pharma, they've got you hooked. These big banks want you to stay hooked. They want you to stay in debt, because that's how they make money. They're not going to make money if you're financially independent and free from the shackles of the tyranny of the financial matrix system. So a lot of times when people are investing in their family and investing in their finances, something people are looking for, families, are to become financially independent and to break away from the being hooked by the big pharma, the big banks, and assets like gold and silver give you the reins back, give you the control, because you hold the assets. Okay, your assets aren't leveraged, the banks don't own them, you are in control. So during these tumultuous times, and we are at the tip of the iceberg with this, in my opinion, Steve, you want to be holding gold, you want to be holding silver, you want to place these assets in an IRA, 401k, and brace yourself for this economic tsunami that is at our doorsteps, and protect what you have, protect your nest egg. Because a lot of people also, may I just add, they're retiring. Our clients are retired, they're retiring. And if the market 20, 30% plus correction, will the market come back? Yes. How long? 7 years, 10 years? People don't have that time. So it's really about safeguarding what you have now, and the time to do it is now.
And peace of mind is something that shouldn't be overlooked either. When you're investing in things that, like you said, you can't touch. You're investing in shares of an ETF that invests in futures markets of something and something, and you if you don't even understand what you're invested in, if someone can't explain it to you quickly, and you can really grasp what you're actually invested in, a lot of these ETFs, a lot of these exchange traded funds, they're complicated, and in good times they work, but in bad times we don't know. They could just break, and people don't really understand that these complicated, shenanigans, banking shenanigans. Back in 2008, people were investing in these things that they didn't understand, that were invested in market securities, and there was this mumbo jumbo around it. And then some people started going like, "No, these things are absolute garbage." When they started looking into them, and the banking mumbo jumbo and shenanigans turned out to be one big money making scheme that fleeced billions and billions and trillions of dollars off the American banking system. And I really fear that with these ETFs and such, that we're going to see some of the similar stuff where people don't understand what they're invested in, and they need to be really understanding. And it doesn't get any simpler than gold or silver or platinum, precious metals. You're buying X amount of metal. It's yours. It's simple.
Yeah, and simplicity is key here. You don't want to overcomplicate anything. I remember adding on to that, because it's kind of a similar story here, that during the dot-com era, it was like throwing darts at the dartboard. Okay, British, sorry, I have to use that analogy because we play darts a lot over there. Throwing darts at the dartboard, wherever the dart landed, you made money. The dot-com era, it exploded. We're not in those times anymore. Okay, if you don't know the financial markets, you don't want to be gambling. This, there was a time and place where you'd put money into these tech stocks, you just make money. .com, you'd make money. That era is over. The era we are in right now is the era of debt, the era of instability. And really, when we enter that type of arena, then you want to make sure you got your hard hat on, your shoulder pads on, and you're geared up for the resilience of the market going down, and you want to have something in your portfolio that's going to go up. And that's exactly what precious metals and gold and silver provide. They provide you with a tangible asset that's not going to evaporate overnight, that you hold on to, that's going to be worth more in the next weeks, months, and years than it will do today, because the dollar is about to take a bashing. It's going to take a bashing because it's going to be diluted from all the debt that we have. It's going to take a bashing from inflation, from the trade wars. And during these times, you want to have something in your portfolio that has a proven track record and is going to be there when you retire and when you need it most. And that, again, is assets like gold and silver.
Mm-hmm. That's good advice. I mean, that's putting our shoulder pads on, putting our helmets on is good, wise advice. And we're just seeing just in the last few days that would have been good advice to take, as Warren Buffett has so famously quoted, when everybody's out there swimming and the tide is up, you can't tell who's got protection and who doesn't, as he says, but when the tide goes out, you see who's been swimming naked. He doesn't have anything because now they're out of luck and they're exposed and ashamed for the risks that they've been taking. That's why everyone has said since the dawn of time, diversification. To have different assets that can protect you from drops. And right now, I think a lot of people are kind of wishing that they had gotten into gold a year ago, 2 years ago. There's people who are wishing today that they had gotten into gold last week. And it's at the end of the day, you have a stock that goes down and you have less. If you have precious metals, if you have physical metals, you still have the same amount of ounces of gold or the same number of ounces of silver today that you did yesterday. I mean, that doesn't evaporate like these stock shares and ETFs and all these other investments. They go down, you have less. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah. You're going to see some big numbers still for gold. If you're thinking, well, am I too late? Absolutely no. I remember in the early 2000s, I was employed by AIG, which is a big insurance investment firm in Southeast Asia. And I went over there and I was actually training their financial advisors on how to sell gold technically, because in the early 2000s, they used to buy gold jewelry rather than coins and bars, and buying jewelry. The citizens were losing money because of the intrinsic value. It was 14 karat gold, not 22 or 24. But I remember being up on stage. There was about 500 to 1,000 people there. I was a much younger man than I am today. And I was talking to them how the Western culture purchased gold. And then someone in the audience said to me, questions, Q&As. They say, where do you see the price of gold going? And I said $2,000 an ounce. And I just remember my cheeks going bright red, and they went bright red. I blush pretty easy when I'm embarrassed. And my cheeks went bright red because everyone started laughing at me when I said $2,000 an ounce. Ha, 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 you're funny young man. Well, gold's at $3,000 an ounce today. Okay, so, I'm not saying who had the last laugh, but my conviction in gold and why you have it and how it performs over time is stronger today than it ever has been. It's never wavered. I see prices of gold easily reaching $5,000 over the next 3 to 5 years. Silver prices easily $50 to $75. Some of the biggest financial money managers have just come out. One gentleman by Eric Sprott, he's saying like $200 an ounce plus for silver. These people are conservative. They never come out with bullish comments. So the fact that you've got these asset managers now coming out with these bullish predictions, I'm happy to hear it, because it's kind of proving people where people's mentality is. Again, I preface, I don't do this for the profit play. I do this for protection and preserving. The profit from metals and it going up over a period of time is the byproduct of the financial conditions that we're given. And when you look at financial conditions today, we are in uncharted waters. We are in a place today that we were not even 10 years ago. And when you look at the current market conditions, and I keep saying this like a broken record, like, debt does matter. You can't expect to be printing money year after year and getting further and further into debt without any ramifications. There's going to be a time when it's the straw that breaks the camel's back and the dollar is going to really devalue. And when it happens, what are you doing to protect you and your family's finances? And again, that's why it's very important. You have a fire alarm for your house, you have health insurance. It's very important to have, insurance for your stocks, your portfolio, and it's gold and silver. Whether you're holding onto it at home, okay, in your safety deposit box at home, and something spendable, tradable that you can take with you, or whether it's a key part of your portfolio for diversification strategy, I do both, okay. And if people haven't done so already, I think it just starts getting educated at least, and that's always the first step to take.
Yeah. Goldman Sachs, one of their major traders, came out just today and is being quoted saying, "It feels like an end of history moment," talking about the markets. Just absolutely crazy. We got China just came out this morning with 34% retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., and that means it's going to trigger another round of tariffs on China. So we got a lot of stuff happening, and hopefully people are getting protected out there. Like you said, you can help protect people's 401ks, IRAs, TSPPs in Canada. So if people want to reach out to you, I'm sorry, what?
Unfortunately, not Canada. We can't. Unfortunately, there's one country we can't do is Canada. Yeah, we tried. It's just very complicated with customs and keeping metal storage over there. But we serve all of America, every state in America. And if you want metals in the IRA, we can definitely serve those people.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to put right up on the screen here or there, right between us, link to your website so that people want to reach out to you. Also down in the pinned comment, folks, will be their phone number. If you want to reach out to them directly, just ask them some questions and get the ball rolling. Make sure you do mention this channel, because I've twisted Jonathan's arm here, and he is willing to waive the setup fees for folks from this channel. So mention this channel so that they do waive the setup fees on that. But you can go to their phone number there. You can go to the website. Just if you're thinking about it, start moving forward with it. You can always stop, but you can at least get some information about what it would look like. They can answer your questions, and maybe it'll be a good fit for some of your assets, maybe all of your assets. But definitely take some steps to put those helmets and shoulder pads on, as Jonathan said just in a little bit ago. So right between us is the link, and then down in the pinned comment down below. Thank you so much for your time, Jonathan. I know you're super busy, and you got a lot of people wanting to talk to you right now, especially with what's going on out there in the markets.
Yeah, and I'll just add something, because actually I'm a fidgeter, so I keep this in my hand, but it's a prepper bar. And these are like some of the products you can even put in an IRA. The divisible, you can break them off. And, for your listeners that call in at 800-200-GOLD, or if they go to poplargold.com, I know we waive all IRA fees for your customers. But I'm also, since I'm holding this in my hand, it kind of gave me the idea, anyone that starts an IRA today or purchases on qualified accounts, we will actually add a prepper bar, a free silver prepper bar to their order as well. So I'd like to also offer that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping out the audience here. I know a lot of people are asking some questions, and a lot of people are wanting to make some jumps. All right. So right between us is that link. and down in the pinned comment as well. Thanks, Jonathan, for your time. I will talk to you
sir.
again later, okay?
Take care.
God bless you all, folks.